OPEC braces for new rebellions amidst global oil market turbulence. The global oil market stands on the precipice of unprecedented volatility, with the geopolitical premium on oil prices teetering in response to a complex web of global events. While the current premium is heavily influenced by tensions in the Middle East, it remains highly susceptible to rapid fluctuations, potentially skyrocketing due to U.S. policies or other unforeseen events, or plummeting just as swiftly. By 2025, the oil dimension of global geopolitical struggles is poised to take center stage, with OPEC Plus facing mounting challenges in its efforts to stabilize prices within the $80 to $100 per barrel range. As global demand for oil shows signs of cooling driven by economic slowdowns in the US and the European Union, coupled with a waning recovery in China following the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, OPEC Plus finds itself in a precarious position. The cartel's extended production cuts have so far managed to keep prices buoyant, but the future remains uncertain. The looming question is whether OPEC Plus has the resilience to withstand the shocks that lie ahead. In the United States, oil has already become a focal point in the domestic political arena. Former President Donald Trump has made a habit of accusing OPEC of artificially inflating prices to the advantage of his political rival, Kamala Harris. Trump has promised that, should he return to power, he will ramp up U.S. oil production and exports, thereby driving down global prices. The stance of the next U.S. administration remains to be seen, but historically, Washington has wielded oil prices as a tool to influence both allies and adversaries alike. A significant drop in oil prices could have far-reaching consequences for key players such as Saudi Arabia, currently pivoting towards China, as well as for Russia and Iran, especially in the context of escalating tensions in the Middle East. The internal dynamics within OPEC Plus are also under strain. As global demand diminishes, the cohesion within the cartel is likely to erode further. Although OPEC Plus extended its production cut agreement through 2025, the decision to allow a rare increase in the overall production quota by 300,000 barrels per day, largely benefiting the UAE, could prove to be a short-lived gesture of optimism. The challenges of 2025 may necessitate additional cuts, rather than increases, in production. This cycle of quota reductions has become increasingly burdensome for some OPEC Plus members. Since the COVID-19 pandemic's onset in 2020, the cartel has been steadily reducing production, a trend that is beginning to wear thin. In 2023, Angola and Nigeria emerged as dissenters, demanding higher quotas for themselves, with Angola even threatening to exit the organization. The possibility of new rebellions within OPEC looms large, as the strain of maintaining reduced production quotas takes its toll. Compounding these challenges is a growing trend of non-compliance within the cartel. Some members have resorted to various delaying tactics and have struggled with the arduous task of monitoring adherence to the agreed-upon terms. Scheduled and unscheduled maintenance shutdowns are often presented as production cuts, but once these excuses run out, the reality of excess production becomes apparent. With rising production in the US, Brazil, Norway, and Canada, OPEC Plus will find it increasingly difficult to maintain the fragile balance that has so far kept oil prices stable. However, the US's ability to rapidly scale up oil production, a key factor in this equation, remains uncertain. The disparity between oil demand forecasts only adds to the uncertainty. The International Energy Agency, IEA, paints a far more pessimistic picture than OPEC's own projections. According to the IEA, unused oil production capacities could surge in the coming years, driven by supply shortages. The agency predicts that global oil demand will peak in 2029 at 105.4 million barrels per day, after which green energy and transportation will begin to erode demand. Conversely, some organizations argue that demand for oil will continue to grow for decades to come. This conflicting outlook is fueling significant anxiety within the global oil market. Investments in oil production are inherently long-term, making accurate forecasts critical. The geopolitical premium on oil prices could rise or fall sharply, depending on how events unfold in the Middle East and the broader geopolitical landscape. The market, which historically abhors volatility, one of the key reasons OPEC was founded, now finds itself in a state of high stress. For Russia, the stability and effectiveness of OPEC are of paramount importance. While Moscow's strong relationship with Saudi Arabia has been a cornerstone of a stable partnership, the current environment calls for even closer bilateral ties with other key members of the organization, both within the Middle East and beyond. The time has come for a renewed focus on crisis oil diplomacy, as OPEC navigates the treacherous waters ahead.